The only time I suppose we would do food again is if like Tom Cruise rang us up and was like, I want to come on the show, but I only do it.
I want the food.
Yeah.
I want
everything. I want George's banana bread. I want the toasty. Where's the toasty maker?
We also sound like Quentin Tarantino there.
Any sort of
They have an intensity of conversation which only
Scorsese,
they have.
Tom Cruise, and Quentin Tarantino have the very quick, talk.
They couldn't work together. They would just implode. Could you imagine? No, Tom. What I need you to do.
It's too much movie. It's too much.
It's
too much movie.
It's too many heads trying to pilot something.
Yeah.
You can't.
There's too many people there trying to save what cinema is.
Like
disagree.
When we saw Tarantino talk, it's like no one else in the room can be doing what you're trying to do.
No.
And if Tom Cruise is like, no, but what we gotta do? No, listen to me. Listen to me.
Let me be very, very clear.
No, listen to me,
Kittredge.
Tom.
Who's that?
That's quite Tarantino.
Oh, yeah.
Just telling off.
No, Tom. Yeah,
No,
yeah.
Tom.
I mean, well, Scorsese's in the back. It's
Okay. Yeah. George, 100 episodes, mate.
Pleasure. What a pleasure.
Congratulations.
Pleasure.
100 times you've been here.
100 times.
100 times we sat down.
Yep.
That music, which we don't actually hear when we record, but
It's
the
in
people
there.
do.
It's in my brain.
It's there. Do you like self-editorialize? Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah.
Sometimes when there's like a nice little heightened comedic bit, I go, oh, maybe for the cold open. I hear the
see
music,
it.
yeah.
And then when I see the edit, I go, oh, that's the cold open
That
this week.
really? Ooh, yeah. Oh, there wasn't one this week. What a shame.
Let's find a bit where George was being silly. We'll just put that in there. Welcome,
Episode
everybody.
100!
100 episodes. It's like a birthday and Christmas and New Year's all at once for us.
It's great. Today, we are going to be giving out 2 View gift cards worth £50 to 2 lucky listeners. Stay tuned to the end of the episode to find out how you can win them.
And we can't believe we're here.
Annoyingly, years are 52 weeks, so we're we're just like a month off from our
goddamn
well, and then there's
Gregorian
also
calendar.
the 2 weeks the only 2 weeks really that we took off when we came back. Do you remember?
Oh, we don't talk about that. That was ages ago.
Yeah, we did
We're
food.
yeah. We did, it's 100 episodes, and we know we've been mentioning it for a while, so we feel very lucky to have got this far.
Yeah.
Feel very happy with what we're going to talk about this episode. Very excited. And I'd like to begin, James, with... I just sort of headbutted the microphone out of excitement. I'd like to begin, first of all, by saying that for this episode, I have made us a lovely pot of tea.
I was wondering this pot
So
that
this
you bought me for my birthday,
I bought this
which thank you very much.
This lovely
beautiful green
teapot for James's birthday.
I
Sorry,
love
listeners.
I love a
can't-
dark autumnal green. It's one of my colours in my palette.
That's why I absolutely choose it. I was like, that's a James green.
Yeah.
And sorry for the listeners. I will try and describe it as best as possible. So I have a pot of tea here for us, James.
It looks like something you would find at the London Transport Museum, kind of aesthetic, like old school Edwardian England.
I'd say if you told me that was like used in Churchill's war room,
Yes,
I believe it.
yes,
Some sort of tea trolley going past at the time. But it would be remiss for us on episode 100 to have tea without having some cake.
Oh, guys, he's brought back the food.
I've brought back, we mentioned it.
Beautiful.
I mean, it doesn't look very appetizing on camera. It looks very beige.
Neither did the food we did before.
But to honour the fact that there have been some listeners, I think specifically Tarby, have been emailing in saying, bring back the food.
Bring back the food.
Bring back the food.
P.S. Bring back the food.
We've kind of left the food behind happily, but because it's episode 100, to recognise our roots, I'm presenting you with some homemade banana bread.
Oh, homemade banana bread. Lovely.
And we can nibble that. And because of our tea conversations, I thought it was only appropriate that we have a proper cup of tea. Would you like me to be mother, as they say?
I would love you. Yes, please. Thank you.
There you go. Good pour on that. Look at that. Oh, look at the steam coming out
That's
of that.
beautiful. You burn yourself, like...
Yeah. That's the end of the episode.
That is hot. You got that piping hot.
I'm telling you, this is the thing about these teapots. Because it's enamel, it really contains the temperature.
The heat.
Very well. That's got 3 tea bags in, because your water, even filtered, James, tastes like arse. So...
We need to get you your own supply of Evian for the flat.
And then I'm going to do your milk for you.
Yes, this is made by my girlfriend's grandmother in Johannesburg.
Well, the milk.
No, the pot.
I was going to say, like, what?
Grandma.
Jesus, my goodness.
Enjoy.
That's a
Sweet
weird
to
joke.
the taste.
There we go. I've left a spoon in the other room.
That's too hot to drink. I'm feeling
Oh,
it.
it's the best kind. Hang on. What?
Steam blowing off that.
But the thing is, because this is a
control.
ceramic mug and it's deep, it's a sink. It's a heat sink, which means it'll soon take out all the heat from, from the tea.
Yeah.
It does look too hot to drink.
Yeah.
It looks like the fires of Mustafar.
You've made a point now.
Yeah.
Now you have to drink it. I like a strong
That's tart.
I'm not a regular tea drinker, but when I do like it, I like it strong. I want to know it's there.
I'm just going to nibble. This is a very crumbly bit of
Thank
bread,
you.
but just
banana bread is some of the only instances I allow myself to eat banana.
Oh yes, because you're not a
Yes,
banana.
yeah.
I feel like if we were a church, this is our Eucharist. This is us breaking the bread.
Guys, the food is back.
For one
For one time only. It reminds me of nursery. They used to always bring up banana bread.
Oh, really?
Yeah, at snack time.
It reminds me of COVID. Anyway, so we brought it back. There you go. I hope we're happy.
Yeah.
So 100 episodes, James. We'll just reflect on that a second.
Yeah.
With the fact that we got an email the other day. I mean, we'll probably read it out at some point, but in it, someone was like, "Congratulations on 2 years of episodes. George looks so much older. He's aged." I'm like, "Yes, I'm aware of the fact."
I've noticed the steady aging of just 2 years. Yeah. But when we look back on the old episodes, like it was shot slightly differently. Figuring out how to shoot in the space is always fun because it's a very small space. Mm-hmm. But like sometimes I look at the old clips and I'm like, why do we look older in the older clips? There's something really sepia and strange about them.
Yeah.
Considering it's not that long ago.
Sometimes,
it looks like it could be 9 years ago, not 2 years ago.
Some of the angles are a little bit Dutch. Sometimes we include different parts of the flat. The logo changed.
I reset this up every single time.
Yeah.
Which I think it's fair. It's pretty consistent considering it gets completely
And
derated.
we've just
every
changed
time.
our lenses as well, so they give a nice.
And George, we've got a whole new look and feel.
Oh, look at that.
We've got
Hang on.
new shots of
Updated branding.
updated imagery,
Marlon branding.
more slick, more professional.
Look at that.
Yeah, groovy, funky.
Recognise
I bet
it.
people would be like, "Oh, I prefer the old one."
Yeah, I prefer the old one. I preferred the food.
Yeah, I'd actually quite
I preferred
like
George
it.
Younger.
Yeah, I actually quite like it if some really good podcasts have been going on for ages. Like, yeah, I do listen to that now, but they used to be way better back. Back when it was just back in the old days.
That's the thing. Yeah, they were in there sort of.
It's okay now. Like I kind of listen, but the good old days
with the food.
Food? You kidding me?
God.
Oh.
Those first 13 episodes.
Yeah.
Unreal.
Yeah.
Unreal. And now they're kind of just, going through the motions, doing
the premieres now.
Killers of the Flower Moon.
Oh, great. Like, whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
That's not why I'm there.
That's not what the real people want.
Yeah, when we're on episode like 731.
We would have to, hang on, to do 700 episodes.
50 a year, so that's 14 years.
We'd be mid-40s.
Oh my God.
We'd be 43.
We both just went quiet.
Just this. Oh, I didn't realize the sweet spectre of Father Time was in the room. Anyway, we digress. Welcome again to episode 100. So we have got a different episode today. To mark the occasion, we have, as we've been saying for many weeks, voice notes that have been sent in from many a listener, which we really appreciate.
Friends of the show.
That we're going to be
friends of the show.
Non-friends of the show.
Technically a friend
all
of the
part
show.
of everyone, the closer friends, the far away friends, all friends, the whole congregation of the Pulp Kitchen corporation of family. And that's going to be really exciting. So we're really looking forward to playing those out. And if you are craving a film review though this week, if you're thinking, I like it being different, but I do like to get a bit of film review, don't worry. We've got 2 film reviews about 2 big films coming out. That is, James?
Anatomy of a Fall, the winner of the Palme d'Or at Cannes this year.
And also Bottoms, the Iowa DeBeery starring raucous high school comedy. We are going to be reviewing both those things in the bonus episode this week.
Friday.
So we'll have a fun episode 100 now, and then Friday will come along, you'll get your little film reviews, and then everyone's happy.
Today, George, all the day this comes out, it's quiz day. Can't wait.
This is it. So
talking about it in the future.
We are very excited to be doing the pub quiz today. Again, to reiterate, we are sorry that obviously not all of you can be there, but it's a pilot scheme, and we are really happy to have 100 people, 100 episodes to come in, and we're hoping it's going to be good fun. We will share some feedback about what it was like.
I genuinely can't wait.
Yeah, I'm excited. Nervous.
A little bit nervous, yeah.
Yeah, because we want to deliver a
people.
good quiz, and we spent a long time last weekend writing this quiz.
We didn't just get AI to do it.
No,
because you could do that, and there are even like websites which just like generate film questions. We didn't do that. We wrote them out. We carefully crafted them.
Thought about which question would be the most fun, which question should end. Literally the order of questions in each round to make sure they didn't. They had a nice flow to them. So
yeah, it's gonna be great.
So James, we're teed up. We've had some food. Why don't we crack on with the episode and listen to some audience voice notes?
Let's do it.
So, guys, let's do the voice notes that we've received. We're very excited to have.
Thank you for sending them in.
Thank you very much for sending them. We're very excited. This first one is from Will.
Will?
Who says,
Hi, George and James, James and George. This is Will from Derby, newly studying in Manchester. I love your show, by the way. Congratulations on 100 episodes. It's so great to listen to it every week. Yeah, it's just it's nice to have on in the background when I'm cooking or stuff. It's great. Sorry. Anyway, so my question was about film scores. It's I love music in films so much. I don't study or anything, but I just really like it. And it really just elevates the experience for me. I'm sure it does a lot of other people. So my question was, because my favourite film is La La Land, which is obviously heavily musical. And I just wanted to know what were your favourite film scores, or just what were some of your favourite film scores if you can't pick just one. Yeah, I don't normally speak, by the way, so that's why I'm talking really quickly. Thank you for just making my Wednesdays way more interesting, and I appreciate the weekly episodes that come out consistently, by the way, which is really impressive. I'm rambling a bit now, but thank you for 100 episodes, and hopefully we see more in the future.
Well, thank you so much.
Very sweet voice there. Not rambling at all. It's very sweet. Well, we absolutely can answer that question. I think we've had a similar one before, but I'm happy to reiterate.
I'm happy to go into some nice
answers.
scores. Go on, George.
Well, we've talked about this, but my absolutely favourite film score of all time will be Interstellar.
It is
fantastic.
A lot of people's favourite, and for a really good reason.
Yeah, it's really, really good.
Yeah.
I would also say Vangelis' Blade Runner, Johnny Greenwood's score for There Will Be Blood,
Yeah.
Arrival, Dunkirk.
Arrival's so good.
Daniel Pemberton's one for Steve Jobs, Mika Levy's score for Under the Skin, and Jackie. And actually, I think I mentioned this last year, but the film Blonde, which we did not like, has a really, really, really good score that I listen to a lot to work to by Nick Cave, Warren Ellis. So there you go.
I feel like the music at the end of Arrival on The Nature of Daylight is almost like a film score that's leased out to really great films. It's at Shutter Island, and it was in The Last of Us and Arrival. That's a really, really good one.
But it's not. It's Johan Johansson who does the score, right? But that's not Johan Johansson.
No, Max Richter does on The Nature of Daylight.
Yeah, but that's he brings that song in, but the rest of the score for Arrival is
yes. But
Johan
it's funny how
Johansson,
that bit, which we considered score, is this amazing piece of music that other films just pick up on and use incredibly. One of my choices I put is a score called Table for Two in the very end of Nocturnal Animals, which is by Abel Korzeniowski, and I apologize if I didn't get that right. I always thought that moment, which is at the very end of the film, when you sort of realise what's going on, that's a really great swell of emotion and very Tom Ford-esque. Isn't this just so dramatic? Oh my God. Harry S. score for Shame is really, really good and dark and haunting. And then, of course, I couldn't not mention Howard Shore in The Lord of the Rings. But I will give a specific moment in Lord of the Rings and the Fellowship of the Ring, when they are stuck in Moria and Gandalf realizes he needs to use his nose to find the right path. And he walks them down, he's like, when in doubt, Meriadoc, always follow your nose. And then the music is building let me just use a little more light. And he lights up his staff and reveals Dwara Dwelf, which was the halls of Moria, which are now abandoned. It's this infinite room of pillars. And that musical score, if you know it, is just so good. The wide it gives you, the sense that makes Tolkien great, which is here is a world that has existed for thousands of years, that's already here. Here's an entire city, and they're just walking through the ruins. One of my favourite Howard Shore score moments from one of the best scores of all time, which is Lord of the Rings.
A use of score, but not, again, if we're talking about, with Arrival, about use of score, but not from the movie, not written for the movie from which it is. A movie that uses almost classical or score music. So in The Truman Show, when Truman stops the bus, he realizes that he has power.
Yes.
Is that they use Philip Glass's Anthem 2 from Koyaanisqatsi, I want to say, which is really good. Just dum 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 dum. The realization, the cogs in his mind turning. Hang on a second.
Perfect reaction from Jim Carrey.
Perfect. Yeah. Wait a minute. This is not. It's just so good. So good.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Will, for that message.
G'day,
So this
James and
next
George.
one is
Dan
from
Brisbane,
Daniel.
Australia here. Just wanted to say congratulations on reaching 100 episodes. Such a huge achievement. And thank you guys for the work that you've been doing. It's been fantastic. My question for you guys is, do you think watching a director's filmography not in the order that they were made can impact how you view each film? So, for example, my favourite Damien Chazelle film is La La Land. It's also the first of his that I watched. And the last of his that I watched was Whiplash. And to me, it just didn't quite hit the same heights as La La Land. I know it's well regarded as one of his best movies, if not his best movie. To me, it just didn't quite hit the same as some of his other work. Not sure if that's because of the order I watched them in, or maybe I've just got a flair for the more musical, because I really, really enjoyed Babylon and potentially rate it over Whiplash. Controversial opinion, I know. Keen to get your thoughts and keep up the great work. Cheers. Keen to get your thoughts and keep up the great work. Cheers.
Thanks, Dan.
Dan, thank you so much.
Also, great to have an international voice on the show.
Come straight in with a good day.
I love that. Coming from the other side of the planet. I love that.
We probably both disagree with that take on Whiplash to Babylon
Yes.
and La La Land, but I totally respect it. But I think you and I are much more Whiplash
Second La La
fans.
Land shout today.
Yes, La La Land
Will
getting a
also
lot of
shout
love.
out.
Yeah. So George, directors,
The order.
watching order, if it made, how that affects it.
I don't. In a way, I think it doesn't matter. I would say, in
Yeah.
the sense that if you watch a filmmaker's work in order, let's
Which I
say,
think is rare. It's rare to get the chance to do that.
well, unless they're a contemporary filmmaker, like
Yes.
someone like Jordan Peele, who's coming. These films are coming out as you're, in present time.
Chances are, like the great films, you're very unlikely to have seen them in order.
Yeah. But I think the benefit of watching them in order is obviously you see a filmmaker grow and flex and get better as a craft person. But the benefit sometimes of seeing a film of a filmmaker's filmography jumbled up is that you can jump in when they have honed themselves, when they're at the top of their game, and then you can kind of trace it back to its source and see where they were working earlier on in their career. What elements of their style did they leave out? What elements of their style did they carry forward? What ingredients and nuggets do you see that they were able to then eventually tease out?
Yeah.
When I talked about Tarantino a few months ago, when I rewatched Reservoir Dogs, what I found interesting that there were elements of style in that film that have not carried forward into Tarantino's later work. Like just a few types of shots that felt like, oh, that doesn't actually feel very Tarantino-esque as we come to know it. But other ingredients you go, well, that's a trademark of his. So I don't think it would ever diminish I think ultimately that if you didn't enjoy a subsequent, if you like your email there saying that you didn't enjoy Whiplash as much, I don't fundamentally think actually that's because of the order with which you watch those films. I think it's probably you are just more of a La La Land person. You enjoy it more. I don't think that would have changed if you'd watched Whiplash first. I think all that would have happened is you would have said, oh, I watched Whiplash, I quite liked it, but now La La Land, I really like it.
Yeah, there's like a common musical thread to all of Damien Chazelle's films, but they're all very different, I think. He does keep it fairly...
Except for First Man.
Except
no
for First
musical.
Man. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Neil Armstrong didn't take the trumpet up to the, to the moon.
But it's like, I think it matters for some filmmakers more than others. Like for example, like the Coen brothers mix up what they do a lot. And there's like common threads, but their films are really different. And I feel like watching them out of order doesn't really matter to how you experience them.
That's true.
Like you could jump from Inside Llewyn Davis to like The Big Lebowski, and you're not gaining or losing anything from either one of those.
So I think we politely disagree.
Yeah,
with
yeah.
that email.
Or even like David Fincher films, they seem to be fairly consistent. And like I don't feel, maybe I haven't watched them all recently, but you could probably just watch them in any order and you get a nice Fincher sense in a lot of it, and you can see the common threads. Yeah. But yeah, interesting. I wonder if it like me like binging a director in order, if that would have a really different experience on us.
This next voice note is from Ray, who says,
Hey there, Pulp Kitchen. My name is Ray Love Jr., and I am calling in from Los Angeles, California. But my hometown, and I always have to mention this, is Carroll City, which is a neighborhood in Miami, Florida. Congratulations on 100 episodes. I am one of your Black millennial listeners, and I would love to know, what are your top 5 favorite films made by, directed, produced, or starring a Black filmmaker in the past 10 years? Again, congrats on the show, and I can't wait for the next 100 episodes.
First of all,
What a ray of sunshine you are.
Yeah, literally a ray of sunshine and a fantastically produced, radio-friendly
Very
voice
nice
note.
microphone there. And then the picture in Ray's signature is a beautifully lit studio shot with him just leaning over his hand there. It's lovely. Ray, you are a ray of sunshine.
Absolutely. Very good question. In preparation for this show, some of these notes we've caught a little bit of, ahead of time. We got a few answers ready. I've been thinking about your question, Ray, and I don't know if I could organize them into a list of 5, but obviously, in terms of black filmmakers in the last 10 years, the immediately jumps to mind is we've had Jordan Peele come on the scene, and I absolutely love Get Out, and I really liked Us. In the last 10 years, I can just get it under the wire to say that Steve McQueen's 12 Angry Men,
12 Years
a
a
Slave
yeah.
gets there.
I also rave about, not in the last 10 years, but Steve McQueen's Shame. Great movie.
Yes,
Directed by Steve
that's
McQueen.
right.
So good. Sorry.
But I would say the 2 answers I really want to focus on is that, first of all, Barry Jenkins, I've only seen Moonlight once, but I've also only seen If Beale Street Could Talk once. But I think If Beale Street Could Talk is a really great, beautiful film that kind of got slept on a little bit.
Yeah.
It really didn't get the push that you would expect for an Oscar-winning
Oscar
film.
winner.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it kind of just suddenly appeared quite quickly soon after on Amazon. It's a really beautiful, sad film, ensemble cast, just a really lovely movie. And then I don't know if you could call this person a filmmaker in the sense that I don't know if they actually direct, but in terms of a creative talent, both behind the camera in writing and in forming a directorial vision and on screen, I'm actually going to go for Michaela Cole, great British talent, who came out with this series in the UK in 2020 called I May Destroy You, which I really don't know how much that was watched overseas.
Yeah.
I know it was distributed, and I think it might have gotten picked up like an Emmy nomination or something, but I think it was very much on the back of it doing very well in the UK. It was
getting cast in Black Panther 2 is a big mainstream step for Michaela Cole, right?
Exactly. And I May Destroy You, obviously it came out in a year when we were all watching TV, and it was this really bold 13-part series about not just about sexual assault, but the ripple effects of it, about the trauma of it, about discussions around it, about the kind of the pressure it puts on people and their friends and their relationships, and just explores that whole conversation around that topic in a really interesting, edgy, uncomfortable but thought-provoking way.
Yeah.
And I, like a lot of people, ended that series being like, wow, what a talent. Yeah. What an absolute talent. And I would love Michaela Cole to shift into films as well.
Yeah, to write another thing that has that kind of impact as well.
Exactly. I mean, so she didn't technically direct that series, but she worked so closely with the director who did. It's like, it's her vision.
He also said starring.
Right, yeah. So Michaela Cole and Barry Jenkins in particular.
Yeah, I think in the mainstream, sort of the biggest director now who makes films about being black, about black culture. Jordan Peele, obviously, on the biggest stage doing that with Us and Get Out. And I'd say also Ava DuVernay directing Selma, I thought was really good. David Oyelowo, absolutely incredible in that. Oyelowo, thank you, doing incredible performance. And then in terms of star, I think John Boyega's performance in Detroit is such an under talked about performance. It's obviously about race. It's a really intense, gripping film.
And he's got that very uncomfortable role as a guy who's a private security guard, so he's a man in uniform, where in a time when all the other people in uniform and the National Guard and the police were all white, but he's also but he's black, so
film is, I just know it's I feel it in my bones, it's under discussed, and that performance is also, I really put John Boyega on the map post Force Awakens as being he's here to stay, he's really, really good. And then my Shame nomination from before.
Thank you very much, Ray, for that note.
This next one is from Taha.
Hello, James and George. Taha here. It's been genuinely a pleasure seeing you guys over the last 2 years and continuously better the show, from removing the kitchen out of Pulp Kitchen a bit and introducing your games, bringing new ones, and continuously improving how you interact with your audiences. I just had a quick question. If you could go back on day 1 of the podcast, what would be one key piece of advice you would give to your younger selves? And looking forward 2 years, what would be one key goal that you guys wish you achieved? Again, it's been incredible seeing you guys, and sorry, sirens on my end this time. And here's to 100 more episodes of Pulp Kitchen.
Oh, Taha,
Very
thank you
good,
so
very
much.
funny.
Sirens on your end.
Sirens on
Yeah.
your end. That's a really good question. So, what about the show then?
One thing you wish you... I mean, achieved is like... We are like in the process of trying to achieve loads of things for the show. Like we're always trying to like do bigger and more and what's next. But is there anything you would change?
Well, no. So in terms of going, if we could go back 2 years to talk to George and James 2 years ago, I would say
Run.
you don't need the food at the start. But also, I think it's more that like this might sound weird because we do this every week and we put it on, but like. Genuinely, it's taken me, I don't know about you, James, but taken me a very long time to realize that people genuinely want to listen to what we have to say.
Yeah.
Like people, like I because it felt like such an egotistical idea.
It's an inherently narcissistic thing
it's
to say I'm going to do a
narcissistic
podcast. Yeah.
To assume that, and then, sure enough, over the past 2 years, hearing everyone's thoughts and emails and their voice notes and stuff has made me just realize that it's okay to actually be open to the fact that people do want to hear what we have to say.
Yeah.
And I almost wish I could go back and say, don't be afraid of maybe, having your opinions and talking about it, because just do your thing and people will listen.
I think that's also like a reason why the show's obviously grown on and gained like a consistency of what we know it is to be. But you almost look at the food thing and you go, that's great, but it's almost us being afraid to just be like, we're going to do this thing that loads of other people do. But when you realize when you do it yourself, you actually realize you're only going to do it the way you know how to do it, which is unique and individual.
Yes.
I think what we found is that we thought there'd be loads of other people doing exactly what we're doing, but really there aren't.
After a certain point, there's not. It kind of levels out.
Yeah, like I think what we did like to motivate each other, we're always just like, it's more important that you're consistent than perfect.
Yeah.
Consistency is what gets you, just like focus on getting it out, getting the thing good enough. And then
in 2 years' time, it's just like we probably can't discuss them, but we have lots of goals that we would like to do, which you will just hopefully see when they come to fruition.
Yeah.
We'll keep you posted. But a nice question, Taha.
Yeah, Taha, thanks. The Pakistani correspondent. Yeah, I should have prefaced that.
Very much.
Taha, thank you so much. This next one is from Ryan.
Hello, James and George. I had a question. If you could replace any two of the top 10 IMDb lists, what would you get rid of and what would you add in? Ooh. Happy 100th, guys.
That's a good question. That's really good.
Thank you very much.
Let's get the list up.
So the list as it stands, and I just want to say we've looked at these lists and they're all over the place. But if you were to use IMDb, Rotten Tomatoes as a metric, here is as of 28th of October 2023. This is how the top 10 stand. I'll start number 10. Number 10, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Right.
Number 9, The Fellowship of the Ring.
Right.
Number 8, Pulp Fiction. Number 7, Return of the King. Number 6, Schindler's List. Number 5, 12 Angry Men. Number 4, Godfather Part 2. Number 3, The Dark Knight. Number 2, Godfather. Number 1, Shawshank.
Okay, I'm going to pull this list up.
I just want to say, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is number 23. I thought Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse was fantastic. It's not the 23rd best film ever made.
I'm also, again, this is like another 5-year rule, but I feel like any movie that kind of came out in the past 5 years,
you always can't. You can't see the forest
for the trees.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, the fact that there's 2 Lord of the Rings films in there just seems a bit greedy.
I agree. I think you could take one out. I am going to, if I may, remove. Oh, when I last looked at this, that's interesting. So when I prepared this, Fight Club was in the top 10, and now Fight Club is number 12. So this is a very dynamic,
kind of volatile
list. So I was going to take Fight Club out and Return of the King. But if I can't take Fight Club out, I'm going to take Shawshank out. I'm going to take Shawshank out.
I disagree with you, and I'll tell you that why in a second. I would take out The Dark Knight and... Well,
it's like initially cultural impact.
I would take out both Lord of the Rings in the sense that I haven't seen it, but I will leave one Lord of the Rings in to recognise.
I think Fellowship stays in for me personally.
Okay, so leave one Lord of the Rings in. I would take out one Lord of the Rings and The Dark Knight, really, or I'd take out one of the Godfathers, probably the second one. I always prefer the first, just to make this representation of only one thing. So in that list, you've got 2 Godfathers, 2 Lord of the Rings, and only one.
Oh, sorry, one Dark Knight.
Yeah, so it feels a little bit greedy. My thing about Shawshank is this. I'm not saying that it is the number 1 film of all time. You and I always have to return to Shawshank about this. But the fact that it is number one, with the amount of votes that it has received, right? It's at 9.3, and Godfather is at 9.2, and there's an 800,000 gap,
Yes,
vote
2.8
gap
million to 2
between
million, yeah.
1 and 2. Is that the reason? The fact that Shawshank has stayed consistently at number one, the fact that it is a film that did very poorly at the box office, but then gained a life through video circulation and rentals, right? Speaks to it's almost like it democratically speaks to the power of that film.
Themes being
and how, you know, how clearly that film works with people, because it should have fallen off the face of the earth, but it found a way to connect with people, and everyone seems to be voting for it. So whether or not you think it's the greatest film of all time doesn't matter. It's like you kind of need to. The people clearly love it and have loved it very much for a long time. And on top of that, there are lots of films that lots of people love that aren't great or split opinion. But the thing is that Shawshank. The debate is always about whether it's a good or a great film. There's no debate that it's a good or bad film.
No.
That's the thing. So I'm like, well, it's clearly a good film plus, and where you sit is somewhere between good and great. So as a testament to the people, as a testament to film audiences, it should stay.
Shawshank remains.
Yeah. Oh, but two wants to put in there.
Yeah, so my first vote is The Matrix 1. For me personally, I'd say that belongs at the top. It's one of my favourite action films of all time. I think it continues to be relevant despite being like about like dated technology. I don't know how it's managed to find that line between like it's techie from the late 90s, but like still kind of very much simulation theory.
It's thought-provoking,
really
while also being incredibly thrilling.
It's the smartest action film about.
Yeah. I think, I don't know. The thing is, all those, it's tough. I mean, obviously, I want to be like, just.
Do you want to know what my wanky modern, my
Before Sunset.
wanky recent answer is? Not because the film came out recently, because I saw it recently. Is Mulholland Drive, because I do, since I've seen it, get the reason why it eludes so many people. It does like stay on my mind. Its stickiness and the fact that I feel like I need to rewatch it, and I start to get the hype the more distance I have from the first time I've seen it. And I'm like, God, this is really weird and brilliant.
I think. It's hard because...
Would you go for Aliens?
I don't know if I put it in the top 10 films of all time.
Before Sunset?
I mean, I'd put that in there, but then I also...
It's your choice.
Before Sunset...
It's a mixture of like what you love and what you would happily declare to the people of the world deserves to be in the top 10.
I'm just going to find this for a second. So Before Sunset is currently at 220
okay,
of the 250.
But Across the Spider-Verse.
But
I loved Across the Spider-Verse.
I think I would put Before Sunset in there as representation of a whole of the best trilogy of all time. Actually, what the hell am I talking about?
Yeah, it's George Pondek
in there. The Before Sunset absolutely goes in there, and then There Will Be Blood.
Yeah, There Will Be Blood. Great shout. I'd be very happy if it was in there. We're big fans. George rewatched it recently and did a whole bit about it. You can go check it out.
There you go.
That'd be great. Thank you so much, Ryan. Great question. This next one is from Cameron on the Instagrams.
James and George. I'm having to hide in a bathroom cubicle to record this, so I hope you can hear me properly. My question is, for the both of you, if you could cap off a movie series at the first film, what series would you pick? And to then make it more interesting, you can also pick a different film from further down the line in the series to replace the first film, if that makes sense. Anyway, congrats on the big 100. Whoop whoop.
Cameron, thank you so much.
Thanks for making my Wednesdays a lot better, guys. Cheers.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Cameron, thank you so much. So, George, a film that... so first question was, if you could cut off a film series at its first film, what would you choose and why?
Well, okay, I've kind of got two answers for this. A couple of answers.
Same.
I'm kind of like shifting the goalpost a little bit.
Yeah.
First of all, I would Die Hard. But if I had to shift a thing up, I've said this before, you bring Die Hard 3 up and it just goes Die Hard 1, Die Hard 3, end of the series.
Sure,
okay?
yeah, that's fine.
My other thing would be, this isn't...
Die Hard 3 also works without Die Hard 1 working really as well, happening. There's the link, but like it could work if like a cop did something previously.
It's true, but in a way I'm like, why would I watch Die Hard 3 on its own when I would watch Die Hard 1? I'd always rather Die Hard 1.
Imagine if Die Hard... Yeah, but imagine a world where Die Hard 1 didn't exist.
I can't do that. And the
In
other
a
one would
world.
be, this is not capping a film off after the first one. A series after the first one is after the first two, which would be Terminator and Aliens. You know,
yeah.
at the end, if
great.
you just put a hard cut on both those franchises after the first two films, you go, thank you very much. That's all we need.
So I just mentioned it, but The Matrix doesn't need a sequel.
Oh, why the hell did I forget that one? That is so obvious.
2 and 3 are like, in this sort of like post-hating The Matrix world, like kind of have something to enjoy. I thought 4 was trash and just like a fart in the wind. Just came and went.
I've been thinking about, I thought about Matrix 4
Yeah.
recently, which is that I was much more kind on it than you were.
Yeah, I really
still
just
think
thought
that in
it
the first half there was some interesting stuff going on, but I will say that when I think about it, I'm just like, oh my God, that exists?
A fourth?
That happened?
Like,
It
did I
came-
dream that?
It
Was that an
literally feels-
SNL sketch?
Yeah, it feels like a dream. It came, they made it, and it made no impact on the current cultural landscape.
Zero.
No, zeitgeist was unaffected. And it's actually quite depressing. It's like,
Yeah.
oh my God, you went to all that trouble to get Keanu back and Carrie Ann Moss, and you did the thing.
Are we going to do it? Yeah.
Yeah, and then you did it, and
No
gone.
one cared.
No one's talking about that now.
Which is a shame because The Matrix as a film is so relevant.
Yeah.
My other slightly different. So I think you could argue that Jurassic Park 1 is the only good Jurassic Park.
Yep.
And then my other answer, which is slightly different, which I thought of, is imagine if they never made a sequel to Paranormal Activity. How much more of an impact that one horror film would have had
It'd be more
if there were
highly
9
regarded.
of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I think the Paranormal Activity one, at the height of found footage, was really interesting. Like, imagine if they made 7 Blair Witch Project
Oh,
sequels.
God, yeah, you're right.
How much the impact of Blair Witch Project would have just been diminished.
Yeah.
And I think despite it also being a found footage film, you could have had like a horror film that I think loads of people quite happy to be like, oh, but Paranormal Activity 1 was so raw, so uncut,
Yeah.
so interesting. Like, it didn't need to show and explain the deep whatever it was. But
agree
because
with
you
that.
made 7 of them, I don't know how many they made. Because you made
No,
so
but you
many,
made a lot.
it diminishes its
think-
impact.
I agree. I also would almost say that for Saw in a way.
Yeah,
the first
totally.
Saw is kind of interesting enough.
Yeah.
And kind of plucky enough, got a little twist at the end.
Yeah.
That if you made no more, obviously the industrial process that is Hollywood will never let that happen.
And those
But-
films cost like 100th of what they make in the
Yeah.
box office.
So like, if you just left it on its own, it's more likely. Also, The Hangover. I remember Jerry Seinfeld saying to, I can't remember who you said it to.
Totally.
It was one of the people who's in The Hangover, but he was like, do you think that... It might have been Zach Galifianakis. He said,
Yeah.
if you hadn't made any more Hangovers, that film would now be much more regarded as a classic.
One of the great like
modern comedies.
Yeah.
But because you made 2 terrible sequels, it's
Yeah.
really diminished.
Totally. Okay, so now a film that's later in the series that you would cut off. Oh, you said Die Hard 3.
Well, I would know that I would bring it up earlier. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Die Hard 3 is one that I would bring up earlier in the series and cut out
Yeah.
Die Hard 2. Just have a double build.
I don't know if I have an answer for that, but we've answered it.
There you go.
This next one is from Emily.
Hi, James and George and James. It's Emily, friend of the show / stalker. And I just had a general film question. I just wanted to know what element of the filmmaking process do you think would be the most fun to work in? I always thought that location scout would be really fun, or casting director, just to have that power. But I know that you guys love photography and videography, so I'd just be intrigued to know which part of the filmmaking process that you fancy yourself working in, if you could. Much love, really excited for the 100th episode, and I'm sorry that this message doesn't come from anywhere exotic or in the middle of nowhere. I am from Northampton. Anyway, have fun for your 100th episode. Bye.
I just love hearing from the people who've been emailing us
Yes.
for like over a year and
They're
like
real.
putting a voice to the name. It's great.
Yeah, it's
Emily,
fantastic.
thank you so much. George, if you
favourite-
were to cherry pick a part
I mean-
of the filmmaking process,
I mean,
what would you choose?
As
That's my phone.
as many, I'd love to be involved in as many, like, especially like, loads of roles, basically.
Yeah.
Acting, directing is great, but one, I hear that my instinct is actually kind of editing, because there's this old maxim in filmmaking that like a film is saved in an edit.
Yeah.
And I remember an actor telling me once, it was like the 2 most important roles on a film are not the director, it's the first AD and the editor, because the first AD can get all the blind spots that the director can't get.
Yeah.
And the editor literally takes an assemblage of material and
Raw material.
screenplay by their hand, worn out director on the other, and has to assemble it into being cogent and having meaning. And we were so used to watching films thinking they're like this intact piece, but there were so many different interpretations of how that
different
editing,
takes, different
exactly.
ways to
And
cut it.
I think the idea of kind of working usually on your own in piecing together strands of this film to tell a story and thinking, well, the script wants to do this, the director wants to do that, that's why I'm going to do this particular type of cut here and there. It's brilliant. And that there's like an idea that, in editing, when they teach editing, it's like you should cut every time there's a new idea. You should cut every time you would blink. The idea comes that this guy believed that humans blink every time they have a new idea, and a film should correspond with that. I find that quite interesting.
I've not blinked since I was 4.
So editing, I would say, also, this is a bit of a cop-out because it's not actually a role with that much responsibility. A stills photographer,
I've said that.
because you are right there in the action.
Behind
And
the
this is,
scenes.
so people have done, it's someone who captures still photography of the set, which they use for marketing, whatever. And you are right there. You will almost be like crouched by the director. And even when they do like a closed set, you're probably one of the few people that are allowed there. You don't make any decisions about what's in front of you, but you are getting a front row seat to the action of what's happening.
That was my answer as well.
Oh, sorry.
No, not at all. It's to capture something. I think the really great things sometimes happen by mistake on sets, and sometimes happen very purposefully. But to like capture that moment and to have that moment actually patina and age and improve. You might not know what you're capturing at that time, but actually that moment when that person said that line or that thing happened, and capturing it, and it's quite, as behind the scenes photographer, it's quite easy to make things look good because everything's been professionally lit already, and it's like everything is inherently cinematic by design. You just have to actually capture the moment.
And also for a long period of time, that is the identity. Before a film is released, the identity of that film is through its stills. New trailer release for this film, you'll see a still of the thing. Sort of thing. For Killers of the Flower Moon, there's a
That
still.
one of Leo like that.
Yeah. But there's also a still of Lily Gladstone and Martin Scorsese in church talking, and they're like kind of bathed in this beauty. Like, as you say, everything's already pre-lit.
Yeah.
And it looks fantastic. Now, I don't know if that was a deliberately set up shot. It looks to me like Martin sat next to Martin, like I know him. Marty sat next to Lily Gladstone, was talking her through the scene, and the still photographer just got this brilliant shot that you wouldn't normally take them of a director necessarily talking, and it was just great.
And then my other answer is like obvious, but like cinematography.
Yeah.
I would just love to work with people at the very top of their game, working to a brief, using lighting, the finest equipment to create like the most beautiful thing. And everything is just so, like the work I do, it's very much like we just get what we get, and like you try and make it look as good as possible, but nothing's like necessarily like finely tuned. I'd love to just dedicate every morsel to like that one shot exactly as it was meant to be. But that's like, very obvious for me because I film stuff. Yeah, not to that level though. This next one is from Hannah.
Hi guys, I would like to know what your favourite comfort film is. I was thinking about this recently, so whenever I have a stressful day or if something really bad happens, I always want to watch School of Rock. And it always cheers me up. It's one of my favourite films. So yeah, I'd like to know what your favourite comfort film is.
Great comfort film.
That's a really good comfort film.
Great comfort
I would
film.
also say, not that I haven't watched these films very recently, but like Mean Girls,
very good.
Easy A. I also would say, like we mentioned it earlier, but like Aliens. Like, last time I was like ill, I was like bedbound ill. I watched Aliens, and the reason that's great is it's long enough to sustain your attention. It's good enough to make you not feel like crap because you're watching something utterly trashy, and it's got enough going on to keep you entertained. And it's also escapist enough. There's something about that I quite like. The danger of it is quite cathartic.
Yeah.
But something like School of Rock is brilliant.
Such a good show. You're not going to get in trouble. I'm hungry. I'd say Bridget Jones is a good one. Notting Hill. Lord of the Rings, which I've said many times.
Star Wars, the original trilogy.
Star Wars really
quite
is,
comforting.
Yeah, those.
That's
cozy.
Cozy, get into bed.
Yeah.
When Harry Met Sally.
Oh yeah, Harry Met Sally. Really
the rom-coms,
easy
that's what
and
they're there
enriching
for.
every single time. Yeah.
But they're not the best of the rom-coms. The kind of the
cream
cutting
of the crop.
edge. That's
Yeah.
right. Oh, Bridesmaids. As
Bridesmaids,
well.
great.
Really good one.
Yeah. This next one is from Doug.
Hello, George and James, the OG friends of the podcast. Congratulations on 100 episodes. And hello to all the Sirens too. It's Douglas from Glasgow here. Very simple question, but a big one in film. What are your personal 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon? Cheers.
Right, thanks, Doug. So, 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon is a thing where, you know, the idea that everyone in the world can link to Kevin Bacon in 6 links. I've been trying to do this all morning, and I'm really struggling.
Where do you count? Is it anyone you've met?
Anyone you've met, and who have they met until you get to Kevin Bacon?
Yeah. Okay. All right.
So I'm trying to get into that world. So I'm like, I know Phil Dunster, who's on Ted Lasso, and then I'm like, I guess if I go Phil to Jason Sudeikis, that's another link. And then I'm like, has Jason Sudeikis ever been in a film with Kevin Bacon? Or has he been in a film or done a project with someone who's then done something with Kevin Bacon? Yeah. And then I'm like, what's Kevin Bacon been in? Crazy Stupid Love, the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special, Mystic River, X-Men First Class.
Yeah.
So help me, James. Help me get from Jason Sudeikis to Kevin Bacon.
Jason Sudeikis
is in Horrible Bosses.
Yeah, it was Charlie. Jason Sudeikis.
Meanwhile, I'm doing Kevin Bacon.
I'm nearly there. I'm so nearly there.
So Kevin Bacon, I'm going to reel off some people he's worked with. Lawrence Fishburne, Sean Penn, Tim Robbins, Chris Pratt, Dave Bautista, Pom Clementif, January Jones.
Oh no. Who? No.
What do you call it? Michael Fassbender, James McAvoy, Rose Byrne. Oh, hang on, Rose Byrne. That could be one.
Rose Byrne.
So Kevin Bacon's in X-Men First Class with Rose Byrne. Rose Byrne is in. Surely Rose Byrne links to Jason Sudeikis through American Comedy. Surely they've been in a project together. So Rose Byrne is in Bridesmaids. What are you confused about?
Isn't Rose Byrne in? She's in X-Men First Class. It's like
that's what I just said. Yeah.
And Kevin Bacon's in X-Men First Class.
That's what I'm working it back
but
from Kevin Bacon
from Rose Byrne to Jason Sudeikis.
Yeah. She's an agent, I think, in it. So Rose Byrne. She's in Bridesmaids.
Yeah.
So Jason Sudeikis has surely been in something with one of the cast of Bridesmaids. Jason Sudeikis is surely he was on SNL with Kristen Wiig, right?
Chris what's his face from Bridesmaids? No,
Chris O'Dowd.
Yeah, Chris O'Dowd. Has he done anything with Jason Sudeikis?
I feel like they're in that world. Surely.
Yeah,
but wasn't Jason Sudeikis on SNL with Kristen Wiig at the same time?
Yes, must have done.
Okay, so here we go. Me to Phil, Phil to Jason, Jason to Kristen on SNL, Kristen to Rose Byrne on Bridesmaids, Rose Byrne to Kevin Bacon on X-Men First Class.
Nice.
Whether these people are still in contact, I have no idea.
So my one, I once made a tea for Brian Cox of Succession fame.
Wow.
When I was a runner, and then Brian Cox was in Bryan Singer's X-Men 2 as Stryker. And Bryan Singer would have definitely consulted and been a script something on Matthew Vaughn's X-Men First Class.
Right. So there you go.
And then in X-Men First Class, you've got Kevin Bacon.
Oh, I see. That's a bit of
and they would have, Bryan Singer and Matthew Vaughn would have at some point. I'm pretty sure. That's the only loose one. But there's no way that when you take... I can see that Bryan Singer also went on to do X-Men. He did a recent one, didn't he? Did he do Apocalypse?
Singer? No.
No, did he not?
Bryan Singer? No. I don't think he's made a film since Bohemian Rhapsody.
He directed X-Men Apocalypse. Bryan Singer. And he did Days of Future Past as well. So that brings me to... And Matthew Vaughn would have been involved in Days of Future Past. So the link there is, I think, is solid. And then, therefore, you get Kevin Bacon.
There you go. Yeah. There you go. Making bacon.
Making bacon. But the argument is that anyone can have a link to anyone on the planet within 6.
Yeah. But they use Kevin Bacon because it's just funny.
So this next voice note is from Sam.
And just to let you know, there is a spoiler in this note for the film Midnight Cowboy, which is a very, very good film. So if you don't want to hear the spoiler for the film Midnight Cowboy, skip over this note. Just thought I should say that because when I heard it, I luckily have seen Midnight Cowboy. So I was like, yeah, he's right.
Hi, gents. It's Sam here, your the running correspondent. I've emailed in a few times. A very quick question for you. What film I'd like to know is sort of kept you happy, entertained the whole way through, and then right at the last second delivered an absolute gut punch of an ending, got you in tears, made you think about the world? My one for this is Midnight Cowboy. the horrible death scene on the coach at the end. So I'd love to hear your thoughts as well. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Sam. I will also say Midnight Cowboy is quite sad all the way through in a way. Like
happy all the way
through, but
maybe just sad endings.
Just ones that surprise, just really kind of
Yeah.
God, because
the sad ending for Marley and Me. Good God, if you have a dog, warning. That film should come with a warning.
I haven't seen it.
An
I know
emotional warning. Yeah, I mean, everyone. It doesn't matter. Everyone knew what was going to happen, but my God. That is a sad ending. I've said this now 2 episodes in a row, but the ending of Arrival, really sad.
Oh, yeah, that's quite, that's a good one.
Yeah, without spoiling, really, really sad. Moonlight sad, but in a kind of like happy, sort of emotionally cathartic way.
How is that very sad at the end? How does that ultimately end?
Because they both meet up at the diner and they're both like, he's like a different version of himself and they connect, but they don't really... It's sad.
I suppose if Beale Street could talk, actually, but it's kind of beautiful and sad all the way
Toy Story
through.
3 is a famous one. I'm going to go for Dead
No,
Poets.
but I would say, sorry, but that's not... Brokeback Mountain.
Brokeback Mountain. I was going to say Dead Poets Society.
Yeah.
Oh, Captain, My Captain.
Yeah. But is that a gut punch?
But the kid dies at the end of Post.
Because he couldn't do drama. Oh, no.
It's the anti-toxic masculinity film before it was cool.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I'd say...
Past Lives, recent one.
Ooh, yeah.
And sad in a really unique way. A really unique way. I don't know how I feel about that. It's just
I'd
really...
say Past Lives, Brokeback Mountain.
Emotionally intense. Loads. Sad films are everywhere. Thank you, Sam.
Coco.
Oh my God, Coco. I want to rewatch Coco, but I also don't because I just don't want to be sad. Well, there you go, guys. That was all of the voice notes that you sent. I genuinely, every time we got a voice note in, I had the biggest smile on my face listening to them, and genuinely just so cool to hear from you. And there's nothing like looking at numbers on a screen, seeing people listening to our show. But when you hear from people and people write in, it genuinely does really make us
It's
really
fantastic.
happy. It's the coolest thing in the world.
Thank
I can't
you.
wait to meet some of you.
It makes it real. It really makes it real.
100%.
The emails do that, but actually hearing your voices, it means so much.
Yeah, I'd love to do more of the voice notes because I think it actually really works as a question format to hear from you guys. But
thank you very much. So those have been some of your voice notes. Now we're going to conclude, as we do every episode, with a game. James, we're going to conclude our 100th episode with 3 rounds of the version of the game that you did for me last week, which is Quickfire, this or that. Tell me which one
James
you prefer.
Bond in
This or
Rehab.
that. That's what the game is called.
This or that. Yeah.
This or
Love
that.
it.
Quickfire, okay?
Okay.
So they're mostly film related.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay. James, tell me, which of these do you prefer? In 3, 2, 1, Austin Powers or Ace Ventura?
Ace Ventura.
Shaun of the Dead or Hot Fuzz?
Hot Fuzz.
Bill Murray or Bill Nye?
Nye.
Chris Pine or Chris Evans?
I think it's Evans.
The Thing or Alien?
I'm going to go Alien.
Finding Nemo or The Incredibles?
Finding Nemo.
Sigourney Weaver or Jamie Lee Curtis?
Ooh, Sigourney Weaver.
Die Hard or Lethal Weapon?
Die Hard.
Speed or Point Break?
I'm going to go Speed.
Psycho or American Psycho?
Or Psycho. I'm going to go Psycho.
Castaway or The Martian?
Castaway.
Dunkirk or Saving Private Ryan?
I'm going to go Dunkirk.
Fish and chips or a kebab?
Fish and chips.
That's the first round there. There you go. Very good. I agree.
Good. It is intense.
I
It is
agree
intense.
with you. I would have said Sigourney Weaver.
Yeah.
I probably actually, just because I wrote about it for my dissertation, I probably would have gone for American Psycho.
Yes.
I agree. Speed over Point Break. I think Dunkirk, yes, just has the edge over Saving Private Ryan. And I also would have gone for Bill Nye.
Only because I hadn't seen Saving... I told you the other week, my recall of Saving Private Ryan is
yes.
poor. I've seen it once a long time ago and I need to rewatch it. But,
Did you say Ace Ventura as well?
Yes,
I
think
did. I would have just got it. But it's I kind of hold the two.
Great matchup there. Really, really good.
Are you ready for your second round of this or
Yes,
that?
yes. It's hard when the actors come because you just get the flash of the entire filmography, both at the same time. Like,
James, very quickly, tell me which one of these you prefer.
Okay.
When Harry Met Sally or Sleepless in Seattle?
When Harry Met Sally.
Coca-Cola or lemonade?
Lemonade.
Starter or dessert?
Starter.
Spielberg or Scorsese?
I'm going to go Spielberg.
Tarantino or Nolan?
I'm going to go Tarantino.
Olivia Colman or Olivia Rodrigo?
Let's give Olivia Rodrigo. Why not?
Billie Eilish or Billy Crystal?
Let's go Billie Eilish, but she's not really in a film.
Uncut Gems or Good Time?
Oh, Good Time.
Jaws or The Terminator?
I'm going to go for The Terminator.
Interesting. George Michael or Boy George?
George Michael.
Forrest Gump or The Curious Case of Benjamin Button?
I'm going to go Forrest Gump.
And Moulin Rouge or Romeo and Juliet?
Oh, I'm going to go for Moulin Rouge, but they're both really, really good. That's a hard one.
I would have gone for Romeo and Juliet, actually.
Yeah,
but yeah, two
both
of Bass's
really,
ones.
really good. I would take either. Take either.
Did you go for Olivia Rodrigo? Or did you go
Yeah,
for
I went Olivia Rodrigo. Yeah,
Why
so
not?
I was like, has she been in a film? But no.
Very good.
That's
there.
very
I like
Chandler Bing
that.
of me. Has she been
I think
in
I
a
would
movie?
have. Yeah, I think I would have gone for Billy Crystal over Billie Eilish. Actually.
Yeah, you just panicked me. I saw her live and she was amazing. I've not seen Billy Crystal live.
Hey everybody!
Hey.
Okay, so
Put that thing back when you came from. Yeah.
so for our third and final round, James,
Check my heart rate.
of This or That.
Yes.
James, are you ready for your final round of This or That? Can you tell me which of these you prefer? James, tell me which of these you prefer in Quickfire. 3, 2, 1. Richard E. Grant or Jeff Goldblum?
Jeff Goldblum.
Full English or Roast Dinner?
Roast Dinner.
De Niro or Pacino?
De Niro, but it's close.
Power Rangers or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
I guess Power Rangers?
Adam Sandler or Ben Stiller?
I'm going to go Ben Stiller.
Jennifer Aniston or Reese Witherspoon?
Jennifer Aniston. Oh, it's close. Jennifer Aniston.
The Bear or Ted Lasso?
The Bear.
Peep Show or It's Always Sunny?
Peep Show.
Tina Fey or Amy Poehler?
Oh, go Amy Poehler.
Oh,
but
really?
It's close,
Okay.
yeah.
There you go. That was the third and final. I probably would have said Tina Fey because I love 30 Rock, but
I've not seen
Perks.
30 Rock, and I've seen
Parks.
Perks.
Sorry,
Parks, yeah. You messed me up. Yeah, no, interesting.
De Niro Pacino's hard. I actually think I would have gone for Pacino in a way
Yeah,
as well.
it's just I've just seen De Niro in Killers, and
That's the
he's
thing.
really special. But
Pacino has done fewer films, which means that
Yeah.
he's done fewer Duff films. But I
Yes.
think they've probably done the same amount of good films between them.
Pacino is like more of a rare gem to find now, and it's like, yeah. But then, do De Niro? Yeah, I don't think De Niro's like lesser films like The Internship with.
Well, you say that, but that's
Hathaway.
one of Quentin Tarantino's favorite films of that year.
Yeah,
He said it was amazing.
Yeah.
It is. Anyway, and Richard E. Grant.
You know why it's so good?
Yeah. Nancy Myers knows what she's doing. With Richard E. Grant or Jeff Goldblum, I was like, because they are both kind of eccentric versions of like,
Yeah.
Jeff Goldblum's an
Okay.
eccentric,
Wow.
American, East Coast American, and then,
Yeah.
Richard E. Grant is just doing his mad running around the town. And can you
The
imagine-
hair is up and it's sort of over.
Can you imagine he's not Louis Spence. he's not that camp. Can you imagine a restaurant meal, filmed between like a version of The Trip between
Yes.
Richard E. Grant and Jeff Goldblum?
It'd be so weird and wonderful.
Ooh.
Or like a 10-part podcast they did on life and
would go
music and
nowhere.
society, but everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeff Goldblum, actually, it makes sense that he is a jazz musician because he kind of speaks in jazz.
Yeah.
Just a little bit over here, and then freelancing over here. Freelancing. Freestyling, I mean. A bit on for too much. There you go, James. Those were our games.
Thank
for
you
this.
very much.
Yeah. So, everyone, this brings us to the conclusion of our 100th episode. We've really enjoyed celebrating it with you. We've loved having your notes on. And it's just a note to say, we couldn't have got this far without you, our
Thank you
listeners
so much.
and our viewers. We really appreciate it. Like I said, when we started this, we didn't really know if people would be interested and people would want to do it. We just thought we would just
I
be
was
consistent.
prepared for no one to listen for quite a while.
Yes.
I think now is the time where if no one was still listening, I would have probably gone, George.
I think we should call it.
I think we should call it. No one's
Yeah.
listening. But thankfully, there are people here.
You guys make
we
it worthwhile.
proved it. You're
Yeah.
real.
You're
Those weren't
actually-
our voices or weren't our emails.
Yeah. We are incredibly
Hi.
thankful.
Yeah, I'd like to ask you about...
I have a question for George.
Yeah.
Thank you so
this is
much.
Ned Schneebly.
I'm trying to say thank you. So thank you very, very much. And we look forward to the episodes ahead and continuing to deliver you guys good film chat, fun film chat, no food chat.
Yeah. Minimal. 2.5% food chat, I'll give it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
What, if someone's like, what's the split between food now?
80% tea chat.
Yes, yeah. We are also about to hit a big milestone on our subscribe account on Spotify. So, guys, as a big present to us for our 100th episode, please, whatever device you are listening on, grab another device that you have, your partners, your mums, your dads, sibling, grab it and subscribe to us on the Spotify, subscribe to us on YouTube. It really does help the show grow. It helps us do cool things. It helps us do more. That would mean the world to us if you could get us to that milestone for episode 100. We would really, really appreciate it. Plus, and guys, of course, we said at the top of the show that View very kindly provided 2 £50 gift cards to someone who listens to our show. In order to win, you have to go to our YouTube channel, click subscribe, like this video, and comment below what film you would like to see with the gift card. You just need to put one film, and then George and I will go through and choose 2 winners from that list. But in order to win, you have to like and you have to subscribe the YouTube video. So make sure you do that below. Many thanks to View for providing us with that gift card. I think it'll be great.
Make sure you do this before episode 101 comes out, okay? That's the time frame.
George, thank you so much to 100.
Thank you, James.
I'll see you.
It's been a pleasure.
Very formal business. I'll see
Very
you next
good.
week for the
Very
quiz.
good.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's been great.
It's been great. And continue to follow us, TikTok, Instagram, like, subscribe, shout, we got it. We're getting
Give
it.
our new brand imagery a like.
And you know
Go
what?
say how good looking we
Yeah.
are. Yeah,
Look how
give us a
swish
little
we
bit
are.
of love. Yeah.
And you know what, guys? Give yourselves a bit of love.
Yeah.
Thank you. So give yourselves a pat on the back for listening to us so much.
Yeah, I genuinely really do appreciate that we have an audience. It's the best.
Thank you
Enough
very
thank
much.
yous.
Onwards with the next future.
See you at 200.